Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with our main topic today. Well, Ambassador Nabila Makram, Minister of State for Migration and Expatriate Affairs, have held a meeting via the Zoom application with members of the Decent Life Foundation and a number of young people studying abroad to discuss ways of their participation in the implementation of the presidential initiative launched by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, Decent Life, with the aim of developing the most needy communities in Egypt, in the villages and the countryside. So to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to host today Ms. Habiba Madany, one of the participants in the Decent Life Initiative meeting. Good afternoon, Ms. Madany.
Good afternoon.
So, Ms. Madany, how did you get to know about you're living in Egypt or abroad?
I was living in Egypt until I finished my high school diploma, and
Yes.
then I went to university in the UK,
Yes.
where I pursued my undergrad of accounting and finance.
Yes. So you knew about this initiative when you were living abroad or in Egypt?
In Egypt.
In Egypt.
Yes.
How did you get to know this initiative, about this
A
initiative?
Decent Life, or with Nabila Makram?
With the meeting with Dr. Nabila Makram.
Oh.
Decent Life, of course, it's very well known.
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
the media
it
is
is.
playing a
well,
big role in getting people to be aware or know more about it.
Exactly. Well, with Nabila Makram, when we started coming here because of COVID, there were many groups on Facebook connecting all the youngsters and the youth, Egyptian youth that are living abroad. So I joined one of those groups, and I was contacted by the office in the ministry and asked to join in several events. My first event was with, I think, was with women,
Yes.
women empowerment, and it was a really nice event.
Yes.
And I kept joining events ever since, and we visited many places, historical and very important places in the army, and I was able to see many of the things that were developed in the country that I had no idea that they existed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did they choose you? You knew about this meeting or initiative, but how did they choose you and other people from
Anyone
Egypt? What is the criteria by which they choose?
There is no criteria. Anyone who
Wants to
studies
participate
abroad
could
yes,
participate.
anyone who studies abroad and reaches out can join and can attend events.
There's a certain age for participation?
Just
because
students.
mainly youth.
Yeah, students mainly. We
Students.
have more mature students, PhD students,
Yes.
or master's students. So age is not the factor. The main factor is being studying abroad.
How do you think of this idea? Because before we get closer to the aims of this meeting, how do you think of the idea of letting Egyptian youth participate in this initiative and give help in
It's
this?
absolutely amazing. I had no hopes that Egypt would have come to this point where I would be able to sit like we are sitting right now with one of the ministers and be able to hold a talk and discuss many matters of life, many matters of politics, and what we can do to make Egypt better, and what is the government doing to make Egypt a better place for us, the youth. What initiatives are they doing, and how can we participate in them, and the new cities they're developing, just the amazing projects they're undertaking right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's come closer for the details concerning the meeting,
Yeah,
the
sure.
Zoom with Her Excellency, the Ambassador Nabila Makram, the Minister of Migration and Expatriate Affairs. So what were the main topics that were discussed?
Basically, it was an introduction for the initiative.
Yes.
Because like me and many of my colleagues, and I'm sure, we thought at first that a Decent Life initiative is a charity event that is only going to hold place for a year or so, and then it's going to be discontinued, like give money to people and just help that we know and are used to, like mundane help. But what we discovered in the Zoom meeting was much more than that. We discovered that is to make the Egyptian citizen more qualified to hold on a city life. It's not only about providing them clean water, providing education, but also making a well-rounded city with a well-rounded citizen with all the facilities needed.
Yes. So this meeting was only for one day on the through the Zoom?
Yes.
Was it enough to discuss everything?
We discussed the main points. As I said, it's an introduction, but it wasn't. We didn't discuss, like, we asked all the questions that we wanted to ask, but also we asked how we can help and how we can be ambassadors of the Decent Life initiative. And there are many ways that we discovered that we could help. And
yes.
Yeah.
You discussed everything?
Yes, we discussed everything,
yes.
and we
and
have
there were
contacts
recommendations coming out
from the
this
youth. Yes,
Zoom
every initiative. The
what
students.
were the recommendations?
Well, the recommendations were basic. We asked what kind of help they provided and
yes.
how we can help in that. So there are recommendations from us that, since we come from abroad and we have language skills, maybe we can give some sessions about language and teach people who are less fortunate. Maybe we could, if someone is skilled in a certain thing, IT for example,
yes.
because there's digital illiteracy in those countryside places.
Yes.
So we're trying to help and overcome that. Like, there was a lot of need for help, even on ground, and there were other side trying to raise ideas of how to raise money abroad, how can we be ambassadors of the initiative, how can we talk about it, what information can they give us, so we are well-rounded, more educated about the topic, so we can talk about it and give a better image. Because as I said, I live here and I thought it was only a charity initiative,
yes.
but actually it's not, it's much more than that. And I think it's the first of its kind in Egypt, because usually the past years, all the other governments, they were more concerned about the city and the affairs of the city. Even if some attention was given to the countryside, it wasn't a well-rounded view. But right now, with the Decent Life initiative, it's a well-rounded view. They work with all the ministries. They work with all aspects.
There's coordination with all the ministries.
All the ministries,
and
yes,
institutions.
Indeed. Yes, like, so they work on electricity, water, education, the affairs of the people, just everything. Women, they have like...
So all the parties are participating,
exactly,
actually.
Exactly. So they don't like only focus on one age group or one city. It's definitely a very well-rounded project.
Yes. Ms. Madany, could you give us an idea, how does a youth of your age in Egypt and abroad view this initiative?
Well, as I said before, there's not much information that we knew about it before this meeting. This meeting definitely changed my view on things. Well, but after the things I know, definitely it's one of the best projects that I've launched by the president, because there are multiple initiatives taking place right now, I'm sure, as you know. But this project is dear and for me is the most important.
Very significant.
Very significant, actually. Indeed, very significant.
Do you know that what the analysts have said, evaluating President Abdel Fattah Sisi since he came to office 7 years ago? He established mega projects, national projects, great projects. They are all great projects, but actually analysts said that this would be one of the very important initiatives and projects in the history of Egypt and in the performance of President Abdel Fattah Sisi.
I absolutely agree, because Egypt has a lot of the percentage of the people below the poverty line.
Yes.
So this will bring many of the people above the poverty line.
To raise the standard of living.
Exactly, standard of living. And it's not only financials, it's also the matter of facilities.
Education.
They get education,
services.
Clean water, services,
yes.
basic
and recently,
things.
President Abdel Fattah Sisi, under his directives, he gave his directives to build complexes and buildings in every governorate that is going to provide services to the citizens living in this village or this governorate. They don't have to come to the capital, for example.
Yeah, because like children don't have to travel miles and miles to go to school. It's really unfair. So now with this initiative, things are going to change. And also, one of the things that we discussed in the Zoom meeting and that they're working on is the sustainability of the project. Because once things are done, someone has to make sure they are going the way that they should be going, buildings and streets that are cleaned.
Yes.
Someone has to make sure that things are going that way. So actually, they have an officer in each village to keep things going smoothly and keep things going as they should be. And they send groups of people that if they need help in a specific area or more education in a specific area, they send groups of people to help.
Yes.
So the sustainability of the project is something very important. They're not going to go make something better and then leave it, and then it gets ruined. It doesn't really make sense. So this is, for me, is one of the most important parts of the initiative. One of the recommendations as well, one of my colleagues had, is we make it some sort of competition between villages, because as you know, there's a list, and they go down the list because there are many villages that need help. So my colleagues mentioned, why don't we make it a competition between villages, so people who are doing better and doing more effort to make their villages better get upgraded into the list.
Yes.
So there's a lot of effort that the youth want to help the country with, and this is something I'm very proud of, because I think is like in one of the first decades that Egyptian youth get to actually participate in the government. Our voices are heard. I get to discuss anything I want with the ministry. Any ideas I have, she directs me to like the governmental bodies that I need, services.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are the areas that you are going to give help in, I mean, the villages? The initiative actually started with the Upper Egypt when it first started.
Yeah. So since I'm in Egypt right now, I'm not abroad because of COVID, I am willing to give on-ground help. A lot of my colleagues are outside of Egypt, so they are willing to give off-ground help where they can host Zoom sessions, raise awareness abroad about the project, or raise fundraising. But like in Egypt, there is supposedly to be a tour where we can help and see the differences they made in villages, which I think is very significant for us, and so we can see that Egypt is making progress. Yes. Because there's, I'm sure, as you know, in the media abroad, there's a lot of negative news about Egypt. It's not.
Why? No.
It's very political.
We have great projects nowadays.
We do, but it is
since
nothing of that is mentioned.
6 or 7 years, and we're trying to get the world to know more about Egypt and the mega projects taking place, and actually this very great initiative that is going to raise the standards of living. Yes. So, what is the role that you play as youth? Now you have attended this Zoom meeting in order to get people abroad to know more, youth and Egyptian youth also abroad to get to know more.
Well, right now they are working on a video showing the differences and the changes they made in one of the villages, and that video is going to be translated into English because, as you know, a lot of the information that we have is in Arabic. So it's really hard for us to share stuff with our colleagues abroad and with our friends. But right now, since they're trying to do more content in English, it will help us, because there's something called soft power, where we just share stuff on our social media and talk about how great Egypt is doing and many things like that, and that makes people see, because social media is very important right now. Yes, indeed.
Of course.
It plays a huge role.
How can we connect youth in Egypt with the Egyptian youth abroad? The role that is played by the Ministry of Migration and Expatriate Affairs. Yes.
I think they're already, like, the issue is, like, people like me who were in Egypt and left for university.
Yes.
They are well connected between here and there. They know what happens in Egypt as well as they know what happens abroad. They can bridge.
Can give an idea about.
But the issue is with the third generation that were born abroad. They don't have a lot of information about Egypt. They come as tourists, and they just
What about holding conferences also? When the
yeah.
challenge, of course, of the
Yes.
pandemic ends.
Yes, a World Youth Forum is
Yes.
an amazing conference that
Yes,
I
that
wish I
was,
get to attend
yeah.
next time it happens. I didn't, but I've watched talks and things from it, and it's an amazing opportunity to connect youth from all over the world. Also, we attend many conferences with Nabila Makram. It's a very great opportunity to get to participate in such
Yes.
things.
So how can youth abroad could submit to this initiative if they want to help?
Yes. First, when we started talking with Nabila Makram, we suggested that we need a platform that we can connect on and we can get information from. And a couple of months later, there's a platform called Metsi that the ministry launched. It's a website that students can go on and sign up on, and then they have access to all the information about all the events, and there's sign-up sheets to be an ambassador for Haya Karima in a
Decent
Decent Life
yes.
initiative, exactly. Because we need ambassadors of the initiative to work here, so you can give more information to your family, to your friends in Egypt, to know more about the initiative, and also abroad, so people can know. It's one of the, as you mentioned before, it's one of the mega projects.
Yes.
So it needs to be talked on and not neglected.
Yes. So what are the steps that have been agreed on in order to implement the participation of youth in this initiative?
So right now they are working on providing ambassadorship forms.
Yes.
So we could sign up and each say their speciality, either what they're working on, what they're good at, how they can provide help, and we will be allocated places on which we are good at and how we can provide help, and so each can be most useful in the area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Ms. Madany, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi also under his directives, as I've just told you, he directed to build complexes for the services and for in each governorate and in each village. So, and this is going to work with the digital system.
Exactly.
So, this is a very important point that we would like to shed more light on. How are we going to help the people at the village to deal with this new system?
One of the most amazing things about the Decent Life Initiative, and one of the questions I had, is that internet access is becoming now a basic need. It's not a luxury anymore. You remember back in the day where internet was a luxury if you had it at home. But right now, internet keeps us connected. You need the internet to know the news, to know everything that happens around the world, everything that happens in Egypt, to stay connected. So that was one of my questions. What are they doing to help provide internet access to those villages? And I was surprised to know that it's one of the things that they're working on with the Ministry of Communication and Technology to provide internet access to those villages. And not only, but also provide sessions and courses for digital literacy.
Yes.
So people could know how to use a laptop, how to use the internet, what to look for, what to search for. And this is one of the amazing projects because we not only need to make them learn how to read and write, but also how to use the internet to know more and to be more well-rounded.
Yes.
One of the things as well that was mentioned in the Zoom meeting was how they need to build a family and how they can have as many kids as they have, because to be able to provide a better life for them. One of the things also we talked about how it should be mandatory for children to go to school. It cannot be optional. All of this will provide in the end a well-rounded village where they can, as the UK countryside is, it's no longer it's viewed as something as the city. You can live in the countryside as the city. You have all the things they need. Yeah.
Best of luck in every step. I thank you very much for coming today. Ms. Habiba Madany, one of the participants of the Decent Life Initiative meeting. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Well, with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode of our program, Cairo Local Time. I'm Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.